Hi, this is Channing Humphrey, another edition of Semi Pro Live. Actually, this is a Semi Pro Life edition, except this time we're not in front of the red piano. We took a little trip out here to North Dallas, Addison area, come have a sit down conversation with the CEO and commissioner of the Fast 8 League over here at Foro Sports Complex. Before we get started, Jamal, let's get a little brief history of you as a player. I know I met you with the Stampede, but what other organizations have you been a part of, man?
First of all, that's a false statement. I met you with the militia, the Mid City Militia, AEFL days. See, a lot of people forget about the AEFL. Man, we playing that 8-man out there, Pennington Field. I mean,
You played with the militia. Damn, I felt like you was too smart to get ran off. You got ran off on too. Shout out to Johnny, ran off with the pack.
oh my God! Stop. And what did we end up doing? I think the next year, most of the guys end up going to Stallions that next year.
Yeah.
Tyler and Decon and all those guys. But that was So, anyways, yeah, I got back into football with the AFL. I guess it was about 2011,
Yeah.
and played the little 8-man thing. That was my first introduction to 8-man football. I never really seen 8-man football before. And growing up in Kansas City, we didn't have a lot of semi-pro football. So, I finished high school out here, and a couple guys that I played ball with in high school,
Play high school ball there.
the Colony, Derek Conley and Todd Perkins and T.J. Lang and Demo Demetrius Bannister, and so all those guys are like, man, we got these developmental leagues, and I think they started. I think it was with the Denton. There was a Denton team that we was with first. And then we ended up coming to.
I can't. North Texas Panthers.
No, it was like the Dragons or something. The Dragons or something like
The
that.
Dragons, and they had that cold white boy at receiver.
Yeah, yeah. And then we all. But anyway, so that's some old news. Moving forward after the AFL, I had moved back to Kansas City. I was in Kansas City for a couple of years, and I came back to Texas back in I guess it was 2013. And Derek, he hit me up again and said, hey, man, I'm doing this indoor football thing. I said, man, to be honest with you, I thought indoor football was kind of lame at first. I was like, man, that's not even real football. And he's like, man, you come out, you're going to get addicted. So I guess it was that first year they was doing the TIGL, the combine, out there in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Sly did his little combine, and he had Frankie out there from the Revolution helping him out, and a couple other cats. And a lot of people don't remember, but Coach Polk, the coach from the Marshalls, him and JD actually started the Power.
Oh.
So he actually was the first person who recruited me to come play running back for the Texas Power. That's actually how I got on with the Texas Power. They ended up not entering. We had started practicing. They ended up not entering into the league that year. And so some of the guys that we were balling with, Tommy George and Day, they were starting the Tarantulas. So I went over there that first year. We was in the NPFL. And so when the Power started back up that second year with the TIGL, I went over there and played a little ball for them. And, we just tried to put games together, man. I mean, it was rough, man. I ain't gonna lie. It was rough. I mean, there was Sundays I was like, man, I really don't want to strap up. Like, I really don't. But the thing about that team, man, it was a real resilient team, man. We was getting blown out. We was getting worked on. We didn't know the rules. I remember the first 3 games, we was getting penalties because I didn't even know I was supposed to be 5 yards back. I was playing jack, and so I'm all lining up, and I didn't even know, and so I don't even know the rules, So I'm just out there, just trying to make it happen. And so, but we earned a lot. Even though we took a lot of L's that season, we actually earned a lot of respect. We never took a forfeit. We never picked up players from another team, and we played all those games all the way through. And so that next year, we were going into the MIFL with the Mesquite League, and that's when they asked me, the owners of the Power said, hey, look, we just need someone to kind of be able to take the Power and go a little bit different direction. Add a little extra,
Got rid of those cartoon jerseys.
them DFW jerseys was rough, man. But that's what, and people don't really realize, man, like when players don't invest and pay their league fees and team fees and stuff, that's what happens. And I know a lot of guys like, man, I don't want to pay fees and da. And I get it. When I was playing, I didn't want to pay fees either. But when you don't pay fees, that's what happens. You get bad jerseys. You see teams fold and things like that, and that's why you see all these issues with venues and because everybody's got to be able to participate. If the owners and the coaches are dedicating their time, players got to be able to do their part as well. And I didn't understand that until I became a coach and became a co-owner of the Texas Power. So going into our second year, Coach Montgomery, who was our defensive coordinator for the Power that first year, he actually brought the Garland Wranglers back. So we didn't have a defensive coordinator, and I was the captain of the defense, and so he had taken, EJ was with us and Trotter and a couple other guys. So they went ahead and did the Garland team. So I just took the liberty and stepped up and started coaching. I wasn't going to coach. I didn't know how to coach. I didn't even know where to stand on the field. I remember the first game we played the Savages, Bo over there yelling at me like where to stand on the field. I'm over there looking stupid. I didn't even know where to stand. And so it was a learning curve from that first season, and we never found a defensive coordinator. So I just learned, man. I just learned, and I started watching arena teams. I started watching film. And I started, watching the Marshalls and other guys and watch how they did their combines and stuff. And I just started, taking pieces from them and try to, build it in with the Power. And the biggest thing I wanted to do with the Power is build a professional brand. I mean, you can have a good talented team, man, but if you don't have a team that's marketable, if you don't have a strong brand, then it's hard to get sponsors. It's hard to get people to be able to follow you. So I felt like, we did a pretty good job these last couple of years building a good brand for the Texas Power. Obviously I wish we would have gotten a few more W's under our belts, for a lot of the work that we put in.
Now, part of those W's not being there for you was because you guys have done a couple of pro tours. Let's hear a little bit more about your professional experience with the Power. Hey, man, I can't let you leave anything out. This is Semi-Pro Live. We want it all, man. I gotta be at a swap.
Oh, okay. You just gotta speak up, bro. Don't let me get a free gimmick because I'll just keep talking.
We can't do it on film, though.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay. You can't punch me in and punch me out. Nah. Okay, fair enough. So basically, with the pro tour, when I came over and I said, okay, look, this is what we're gonna do with the Power. I wanted to be able to bring an AAU feel like they do with basketball to the Power. So I really didn't want guys to have to invest too much money. I just wanted guys to be able to come, have nice jerseys, be able to travel and play ball, just like AU select teams do. Those guys ain't got to worry about nothing. They have backpacks, they got gear, they look fresh, and they just got to go out there and ball. That was really my vision. And so I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, guys are getting tired of playing the same guys in the Metroplex, so I'd rather travel and see different teams and different faces. Plus, when you travel like that, having a road trip, and from playing with the Tarantulas and going on those road trips, the kind of bond that a team gets from going on road trips. So I sought it out. I know there was a lot of developmental teams, a lot of pro teams that need opponents, need exhibition games. So, I sought them out, the first couple of years. I said, hey, look, we're willing to travel. We just want to be able to give our team a different look. If you don't ask, you never know. A lot of people ask me, well, dang, how did you get those games in the CIF? All you got to do is ask. It's simple. I didn't do nothing special. I just sent a message and asked, say, hey, look, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. We know that y'all probably want a look before games that count. Yeah. Would you not want to play a preseason game to see what you really got before your regular season games count? And, most of the teams were with it. And then once you do one or two and you got an identity as a team that's willing to travel and be able to bring a professional feel and uphold that standard, then they start calling you. And that's what happened with these last two games. For Amarillo and Quad City, those calls came. So that's pretty much how we got those pro games.
All right. Well, Uh, I know the Power was in the Edge League this year. Tell us, we know there's been a lot of rumors. We don't really know. Nobody really knows what goes on except for who was at the top. So tell me the little bit that you know of what happened with the league dissolving, and then tell us what gave you the idea to start Fast State.
Well, from the very start, moving from the Mesquite Arena where the developmental league was before into the Dallas venue, I think everybody knew that was going to be somewhat of a challenge. We just had faith in the pro system in the Dallas Marshals that out of all teams they would probably be the most financially stable and be able to make it work, right? Because they were the only pro team that had a feeder system. So I know a lot of people were kind of bashing the Marshals and talking about them, folding. But if you think about it, the Marshals were the only organization that actually tried to build a developmental system to be able to bring guys into the CIF. And so basically, what really happened is, there were some monetary issues that happened from, I don't know if it was previous ownership, but from the sale from the original arena into moving into the new arena, there was obviously some monetary issues. I don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that it was, monetary related. It was all, financial. So a lot of people try to blame it on the fights and all this, but it really, at the end of the day, man, it always comes down to money with any kind of organization, right? And so even with fights, if you have the right amount of money, everything is overlooked. So I knew when they were talking about the fights, I was like, okay, they're really using this as a mask. So basically, we've been using Foro Sports Club for the last 3 or 4 years as a practice facility for the Texas Power because they had one of the nicest fields in the area that, there's not a lot of
Arena field.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to reduplicate an indoor field on an outdoor field, right? And they had a 60-yard field that was close. It wasn't exact, but it was close, and it was turf. It was nice. And so prior to the season even starting, Larry actually hit me up and said, "Hey, look, we may possibly have an issue with the venue. Do you mind if we contact Foro and we may just do our league out there?" A lot of people don't remember, but I actually had made a post back in November stating that we were going to be playing our home games at Foro. Then everybody got on the post. They were talking shit. There was owners from other teams saying I was wrong. It was misinformation. But I'm like, it wasn't a misinformation because everything went through me. So I'm like, I know Larry called me. He texted me and asked me. So I know. And then the facility called me and said, "Who's Larry?" Right? We know who you are. We don't know who Larry is. And I said, look, this is what we're trying to do. Go ahead and give him the blessing. Well, what ended up happening is I guess they had renegotiated with the venue in Dallas. Yeah. And so they just kind of left Foro high and dry and then just I guess try to continue at Fair Park. And so after Fair Park was having issues after those first 2 or 3 weeks, the owner of Foro came to me and said, "Hey, look, why can't we just run the league?" And I said, there's no reason why we can't, right? And so we beta tested it. We ran, the first week games here. There was some working pains just like anything new. But I mean, at the end of the day, everything worked out. I mean, we had refs out here, guys played football, we had concession, and everybody had a good time.
At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. But we're on to the Foro subject, man. So tell us, what do we have to look forward to with Fast 8, man? And tell us, we just saw the meeting on live. That's on Semi-Pro Live now. We had some of the rule changes. So just for the fans at home that missed the meeting portion, bring us up to date with some of the rule changes that you instituted today and what's going to be the key difference between Fast 8-man and some of the other 8-man leagues around.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest things is obviously the venue. The venue is pretty much the highlight of our league. I mean, it's a state-of-the-art venue, and we pretty much there's not another field in Dallas that is designed the way this field is. It's a 60-yard field with 7-yard end zones. It's 42 yards wide, and it's got 30-foot nets that go around the whole perimeter of the facility. And it sits in a bowl, so it's very unique. Now, one of the things that we're going to implement is we're not going to have a traditional coin toss like you do. I want competition coming out the gate, right? So before the whistle even blows, I want competition. So we adapted the concept kind of like from the XFL. They did the XFL scramble. So we were actually going to make teams compete before the game to see who gets the ball. A lot of guys play pickup basketball, and when you play what do? You shoot for ball, right? So guys are going to compete for the ball in our league. Like I had stated before, it's an 8-man league. So we're going to do an 8-man league. It's going to be a 35-man roster. We have 8 committed teams, and all those teams, they have the chance to be able to win $3,500 at the end. And so one thing, when I was taking a look at all the different leagues and wondering why leagues fail and the leagues that are successful, I started looking at flag. And I said, I started talking to I know Bye Charles Smith. He actually kind of helped me come up with the concept for the financial part for the prize. And every time these guys go play flag, they get these cash tournaments. So you're telling me these guys that are running around with flags with no pads, no shoulder, no helmets, they're not putting their bodies on the line like you guys are, but they're getting money. They're getting money, right? So everybody wants some kind of financial gain from playing football. So I wanted to give that back to you guys. So I said, well, look, if you guys are going to commit $50 a player and it's 35 players to a team, that's $1,750, right? You just do simple math. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, look, the winning team, I'll give that $1,750 back. And my sponsor said, well, look, if you guys actually complete a season and actually make it all the way through, we'll match that $1,750 as a sponsor. Compass Bank, BBVA. They've been in our back pocket for years. So I just wanted to be able to say, look, man, this is something that we want to be able to give back to you guys for committing and giving a financial commitment. Not just committing coming out every Saturday and Sunday, but committing your dollars. We're asking you guys to pay $50, but you guys actually have something to be able to gain back from it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's an interesting mix. We're going to take a quick commercial break real quick. We'll be right back with you, get the rest of the information, and see who all's been involved with the formation of the league. We'll be back. Just Channing Humphrey with Semi-Pro Live. This is Channing Humphrey. We're back. It was a little bit shorter edition than usual. But, hey, man, before we get on out of here, I just want to get some dates for you about the big events coming up in Fast 8, man, that the players need to watch out for. And I want to get some shout-outs.
Well, the biggest date, next Saturday, May 12th, here at the Foro Sports Complex, we're actually having our official league combine. This league is actually going to be this league combine it's a little bit unique. We're doing our traditional drills. We're doing the 40-yard dash. We're doing the L drill and the 5-10-5. But we're actually, when we get into the team in 7-on-7, it's going to be fully padded with lid and shoulder pads because these teams and these owners and these coaches, they want to see what you guys can actually be able to do with pads. And so that will be May 12th. 9 a.m. registration here at Foro Sports Club.
And then what day is the draft going to be on?
The draft is actually going to be May 27th. That's going to be at Drive Nation. And the draft will start at 6 p.m. We're going to open that up to the public as well. So we really encourage, everybody to be able to come out. If you have a family member, a spouse, a son that's playing in this league, go out and support them. This is the draft for this league, and we really want everybody's full support.
It's going to be a show. Also, on the subject of the draft, DG, T-Man, into the draft, man. Jamal has a nice league out here. He's got it organized. We got a nice facility. And the one thing he wants most is this to be the first semi-pro league with parity. If T-Man and professional quarterback enters the draft and D Green, a professional running back / receiver, you guys can change the fortunes of a franchise overnight. So really take in consideration, maybe you might have an announcement on us later on tonight with Semi Pro Live. But before we go, man, let you get some shout outs to the family and to the sponsors and let everybody know what you're representing.
Gotcha. Appreciate that, Shannon. Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to y'all, Semi Pro Live, for doing this interview and covering our league and all the leagues in the community. And obviously, I want to give a huge shout out to BBA Compass Bank. Terrence Sauls over there. He's actually the solutions manager for the area and works with nonprofits. If you have a nonprofit, if you're a team that has a nonprofit status, a 501c, reach out to me. I can help set you guys up with Compass Bank so you guys can be able to get fundraisers and to be able to fund your team and fund what you guys are doing. Obviously, I want to give a huge shout out to Foro Sports Club for allowing us to use the facility. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Curley, TCU standout, currently plays for the Buffalo Bills, good friend, and he's actually going to be one of the professional coaches that's going to be out here working the combine with us May 12th. So if you want to get trained by an NFL wide receiver, make sure that you enter to the combine May 12th.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate you having us out here at Foro Sports Conference. We'd like to thank everyone, the usual suspects. And before I let you go, Beam Real Estate, Ava Humphrey. If you need to find some rental property or the home of your dreams, just give her a call. Her number is 817-939-8183. Again, the number is 817-939-8183. And this has been a Semi Pro Live production.